welcome to the final video of this week. So, final video of this week is letting you know how I am doing with 30 reads in 30 days. So far, it's pretty good. I've read mostly short book. Well, I've read all short books this month. But they've all been enjoyable. Of course, I'll be reading from my notebook as always. Not this page. This is my series. This is my TBR jar challenge page that we'll go over here in a second. So first of all, first books that I read this month. If you would have seen if you watched my Rayathon vlog, but if you didn't watch it, my first 8 books were read on between the 2nd and the 4th. So Friday to Easter. And those were Tea Dragon Society, Saga Volume 6, Record of the Titan, 17th Suspect, Midnight Sun, Call of the Wild, Walking Dead Volume 24, and 18th Abduction. All of these were pretty enjoyable. I pretty much burned through them all very quickly. And then right after that, so all of this week, so Monday through Friday, well, Monday to today, I have read Come Tumbling Down, Your Only Old Ones, Sacred Journeys, Among the Imposters, and right before recording this video, I just finished A Conference of Birds. So that means I have read 13 books this month so far, but I am getting ready to get into the longer books that I'm going to read for this month. Funny enough, not funny, ironically enough, I said I wasn't going to be able to get the 4th Game of Thrones book in my series challenge, in my TBR jar challenge video, and I was wrong. It actually showed up last night, so on the 9th of the 8th, and I do have that, and that means I will be reading that this month, which makes me nervous, and I'm going to try and not save that for the end of the month like I did last time. So now that you know all the books that I have read already for this month, I think I'm going to go over what I thought of them, what they're about, and we'll go from there. So, starting with Tea Dragon Society. The Tea Dragon Society is about tea dragons and the history of making tea from the tea dragons, and also the history of the group that kind of started all of this, that started all of the society, and what happens to the society. And overall, it was a 76-page graphic novel, and it was really enjoyable, and it was really fun to learn about the tea dragons. I was actually quite impressed that such a short novel was very enjoyable, very well written, and the art was amazing. And on top of that, I felt like it was all cohesive, and the history wasn't confusing. So I really liked that aspect of it. Originally, I gave it a 5 stars out of enjoyment. I didn't end up putting it as a 4.5 after thinking about it after some time. Not because the novel did anything wrong, it's just because my 5 stars have a weird meaning. So then I read Saga Volume 6. So Saga is a forbidden love story. It is kind of like a Romeo and Juliet in space, but obviously not. I personally don't like Romeo and Juliet, and I absolutely love this series. It follows two people that are 2 different kinds of creatures, and then they have a child together, and they are the most wanted people in space, and their story is followed by those trying to capture them and several other groups, and it progresses into, there's 9 out, I've read 6 of them, and I feel like it's another really well done series. And the fact that it's not just them, you also have little breaks of another storyline in between, and also it's told by someone you wouldn't expect, kind of thing. And it is in first person a lot of times, but when the first person characters aren't talking, it is narrated by someone that I originally did not expect. And Saga Volume 6 did get a 4 stars from me. Then I read Wreck of the Titan. I read Wreck of the Titan because it is a novel that I listened to it, but I feel like it's the same thing. I listened to the Wreck of the Titan because it is something that has caught my attention for a very long time. It is the book that has eerie connections to the Titanic, but 14 years previous. Now, I did enjoy this novel because I got to see what everyone's been talking about for a while. Matter of fact, Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin has a whole video out for that, and I'll leave it down in the description. This was both enjoyable as to read as a history book, sort of, but also this book goes into so much more than the shipwreck. It actually has it goes into interviewing the captain and the passengers on what happened that night. And I also enjoyed it as someone who not only has but has been interested in the Titanic topic for a very long time, but also my birthday is the anniversary of the night that the Titanic hit the iceberg, along with the president being shot. So I enjoyed it. So obviously I feel a strong connection to the Titanic, and it was kind of interesting to see what was similar and what was different. The Wreck of the Titan did end up getting a 3.5. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I didn't hate it. Then the fourth book that I read this month was 17th Suspect, which I really, just like talking about Saga Volume 6, it's kind of hard to talk about this as it is the 17th book in the series. But this is part of the Women's Murder Club series, which is a series that follows a cop, a lawyer, a writer in the newspaper industry, and a coroner, and they get together at a cafe and explain, talk about cases both on and off the record and their personal life, but they usually have one central case that they are talking about, so they're getting evidence from all four jobs: the coroner, the lawyer, the cop, and the writer. I personally enjoyed this one because there was a lot more coming back together. There was a lot more explained. We also got to do one of my favorite things, and this isn't for everybody, but I love the fact that we got to visit some old cases. So that's definitely where this series this far in keeps things going, keeps things interesting. Yes, you're following new cases from these people, but you're also following their life, and that can kind of get boring. But every once in a while, in a let's just throw something into the plot to make it interesting kind of way, every once in a while old cases will be thrown in, and I absolutely love that. So I did give this one a 4 stars also. And then things felt just a little bit downhill because my 5th book for the month was Midnight Sun. I didn't hate the Twilight series. Matter of factly, I quite enjoyed the last 2 books, but Midnight Sun so many times made me uncomfortable. Like, this is obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but this is the Twilight in Edward's perspective. And I never thought about how creepy and uncomfortable it would be following it from Edward's perspective. But what saved this from being a complete 1 star and not 1.5, 2 star-ish, was the Collin family, because I was always interested in what the Collins thought in the first book. Will definitely say I'm glad she isn't rewriting the entire series in Edward's perspective, because for the first time I would drop a series and would not read the rest of them. And then from Midnight Sun we go on to book number 6, which was The Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild, I don't know how to explain it all, honestly. And I'm not quite sure where I have the book at, and I'm sorry that I don't know how to explain it, besides the fact that it's like an adventure novel, it was also very sad because there was a lot of animal abuse in this book. But it was interesting for me to read a book from a dog's perspective, and kind of his journey through life. So I did give this one a 3-star. Again, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite thing in the world. And then I read Walking Dead Volume 24, and I wish I had someone to talk to about the series, because at this point, when I originally started the series, I thought that I was going to get to a point where I was bored, where I was just done with the series because it was just going to be zombies and drama. But it's so much more at this point in the series, and of course I can't say too much without spoiling it. But it's so much more than the zombies and the drama. Like, we're getting to a pretty steady point. And when I say that I never thought I would cry, even the smallest bit, over a Walking Dead comic, I'm not kidding. I cried quite for the ending of this one because it hurt very much. So, and I think at this point we all know what The Walking Dead's about, and I wouldn't know where to start because I would end up spoiling something. And then from there, I read 18th Abduction, which is again the 18th book in the Women's Murder Club series. Then I read Come Tumbling Down, which is book 5 in the Wayward Children's series. Now, the Wayward Children's series explores portal magic, where these children find doors and go to those doors and go into worlds that change, and they get attached to these worlds, and it changes it somehow, and at some point they come back to our reality, and then they end up going to the school for wayward children, considering most of the time their parents think that they're ill or gone crazy, or just are like, you know what, I'm not handling this, and they unfortunately abandon their kids. And the school is for a place for them to go to be with other kids, they're teenagers most of the time, to just be with someone else that understands, and they all hope one day they can return to their worlds, but of course it is so much more than that, and chaos ensues 90% of the time. And then from there, I decided to throw in a children's book, and at book number 10 was Your Only Old Once by Dr. Seuss. I still love Dr. Seuss, even at the point that I'm at now. And it was enjoyable, but I don't rate children's books because I feel like that's a bit unfair. And then number 11 was another finished read from last month, which was which I forgot to mention, 17th Suspect and Midnight Sun were finished reads. My third and only other finished read from last month was Sacred Journeys. Sacred Journeys is quite the religious book, but it's also kind of someone's, it is a partial memoir and inspirational novel, kind of just about someone's journey to finding out what they believe or don't believe, and the trials of being a pastor's wife and being a mom and all that kind of stuff. Then book number 12 is a series I feel is highly underrated, and that is Among the Imposters. So, the first book is called Among the Hidden. This series is about a futuristic world where third children are illegal. It follows Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Luke being the third child, and his harsh reality of coping with the fact that he is an illegal child, that at any point the people who deal with this, really they kill them and other unfortunate things, with third children, and they are called the population police, and the entire time Luke is avoiding the population police until at one point he finds a fellow third child. And the story goes from there, but it also kind of, in the first book, talks about how Matthew and Mark, his elder brothers, deal with having a little brother that is illegal. and how his parents deal with having a third child. Luckily, these are not some of the awful parents who throw their kid away. His parents actually want him, but it follows the whole family subtly in the first book, but most of the series is through Luke's point of view. And book 13 that I finished before this video was A Conference of Birds by Ransom Riggs, and I haven't had time to process yet, besides the fact that I enjoyed this book, so I don't know where I rate it necessarily, but vaguely, because the series has become so much more, and I am so much attached to this series, I can't even fully explain what's about without ruining the series. But Miss Peregrine's is a series about, why did his name just vanish from my head? About Jacob, who one day finds, I keep saying one day and making it sound like a fairy tale. None of these books are fairy tales. Just putting it out there. Jacob is part of, Jacob's grandfather told him these stories when he was little, and at some point Jacob stopped believing these stories, and his dad was always, Jacob's dad always said that his grandpa was crazy. Like, I don't know where he made up these stories from, but he's absolutely crazy. Of course, he finds out that these stories aren't fake, and then he becomes the crazy one, and it kind of just ensues from there. It's a very, very vague way to explain it, but this world is so rich in its details and so engrossing. Yeah, that's where I am with that, and with that being said, that is my update for 30 Ways in 30 Days. I was going to update you on my TBR game, but this video is long enough, so I will post that video on Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff. And I will also might be doing another hour, 24-hour, 48-hour readathon this weekend, because I'm a little bit behind on my series jar. So that's your hint for Monday, and I will see you all in the next one. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you in the next one.